Night falls. A residential neighborhood should be quiet. Instead, an urgent call comes in. A sounder of wild hogs is moving deeper into the area, following fences, trash bins, and the same paths people use every day. This is a clear sign that the boundary between wilderness and human living space has been broken. And once that line is crossed, response time is no longer measured in days, but in hours. It's time to act, now. Camera footage shows the boars moving with purpose. No panic, no hesitation. That tells us one thing: they're already comfortable here. Once wild boars start treating a neighborhood as a safe food source, chasing them off doesn't solve the problem. It only shifts their schedule or sends them down a different street. They don't disappear. This is the danger zone, where one wrong decision can raise the risk fast. Traffic accidents, attacks on pets and livestock, even direct threats to residents. Wild boars aren't afraid of lights. Noise doesn't scare them off easily. They adapt fast. And every safe return becomes a green light for the next night, each time bolder than the last. In a residential setting, there's only one option that's both effective and controllable: a heavy-duty steel circular corral trap, a tool widely used for wild hog management across many US states. The trap is set on open ground bordering the neighborhood, right along the boars' established nighttime travel route. The circular design eliminates blind corners. There's nothing to brace against, no weak angle to break out. Once triggered, there's no exit. Everything inside becomes a closed control zone, large enough to contain the entire sounder, and crucially, prevent panic from spilling into the neighborhood. The bait is simple: food the boars already trust. It's placed dead center, deep enough that they have to commit fully and step all the way inside. No rushing, no force. In wildlife control, patience at this stage determines 90% of the outcome. The boars must believe this is just another safe feeding spot, right up until everything is already under control. When the final boar steps in, the automatic trigger engages. The gate drops in an instant. Every exit is sealed. No escapes. No panicked animals charging through residential streets. No situation spiraling out of control. This is the biggest advantage of an automatic circular corral trap. The threat ends right where it stands, without being pushed somewhere else. After the trap is sprung, camera systems show no further wild boar movement around the neighborhood. Paths are clear again. Yards are safe. Shared living spaces return to normal. The success of this operation isn't measured by how many boars were captured, but by the accidents that never happened, the families who slept through the night, and a neighborhood that didn't turn into a danger zone after dark. Controlling wild boars in residential areas isn't extreme, it's prevention. It's about protecting people, property, and the rhythm of community life. When set in the right place, at the right time, for the right reason, a circular corral trap ends the threat decisively, safely, responsibly. Not with recklessness, but with strategy, discipline, and absolute priority on public safety. If you want to keep following real-world field operations like this one, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and stay with us for the next episode.
Pretty tough, huh?
When the city falls asleep, another world begins to move. Under the dim glow of streetlights, herds of wild boars emerge. They quietly cross the streets, pushing deeper into residential areas. They tear up gardens, search for food, and roam freely through places once considered safe human spaces. Videos recorded by residents reveal a troubling shift. Wild boars no longer stop at the forest edge. They now appear on city streets, inside neighborhoods, even right in front of people's homes. When the boundary between urban life and wildlife becomes blurred, the issue is no longer just property damage. It becomes a matter of human safety. When wild animals lose their fear of humans, risk begins to grow exponentially. This is not just a story about wild boars. These images raise a much larger question. How are we managing the shared space between humans and nature? And how can we protect our way of life while still preserving the balance of the natural world? Follow us as we continue this challenging journey. From before dawn, Martin, one of the most respected wild boar hunters in the region, was already at the trap site he had set days earlier. More than just a skilled marksman, Martin is known in the local community as a pioneer in using smart trapping systems to control wildlife safely and responsibly. Today's mission posed a serious challenge. A highly alert sounder of wild boar, and the team's responsibility was not to injure them, but to guide them back toward the forest without harm. The core strategy was pre-baiting, allowing the boar to become familiar with the trap site before any activation. The team used fermented corn and sweet bait, since wild boar find almost impossible to resist. Over several days, the entire sounder grew accustomed to the location and the food source, significantly increasing trap effectiveness while minimizing stress and panic. When the trap is finally triggered, the likelihood of capturing the entire group at once, rather than scattering individuals, makes the operation safer, faster, and far more efficient. Effective control does not come from haste, but from staying one step ahead. Martin uses Boarbuster, a modern trapping system designed specifically for wild boar and now widely deployed across the United States. Unlike traditional methods, Boarbuster allows an entire sounder to be controlled with a single activation. minimizing panic and greatly reducing the risk of boars scattering into nearby residential areas. For Martin, operating a trap is never just a technical procedure. Each activation is a responsible decision, tied directly to maintaining ecological order and protecting the everyday safety of the community. Before triggering the system, Martin carefully checks every factor: the trap's placement, the direction from which the boar approach, and the most appropriate moment to activate. Thanks to the pre-baiting process, allowing the boar to become familiar with the trap site over several days, when the entire sounder arrives, the system can be triggered with precision, keeping stress and unnecessary risk to an absolute minimum. Once the boar are securely contained, the team relocates them to a legally designated management area, ensuring the operation remains safe, controlled, and does not disrupt nearby residents. This is where technology, field experience, and patience converge. No rushed reactions, no loss of control, only proactive intervention to prevent damage, protect the community, and preserve balance within the local ecosystem.
Let's go, hip. Let's go, hip, hip. Get in there, hip, hip. Hip, 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 hip. Yeah, we gotta screw that to the bottom.
The operation didn't just bring wild boar under control, it restored peace of mind to families and the wider community. In a world where wildlife is increasingly encroaching on residential areas, smart, humane, and properly licensed solutions are the path towards sustainable management. Wildlife management is not a battle between humans and nature. It is how modern society brings together science, law, and responsibility to protect both communities and ecosystems.
How about this boat paddle? Hip, hip, get turned. Hip, hip, hip.
It didn't begin in the fields or at the forest edge. It began right inside the working heart of the farm. A herd of wild boars appeared in the very spaces where people carry out their daily lives. What they left behind were overturned tables and chairs, damaged equipment, and a workplace thrown into chaos. And when wild boars grow so accustomed that every time they appear, they walk straight into human workspaces, this is no longer a story about crops. It is a clear sign that the control system has reacted more slowly than the boar's ability to adapt. The moment had come for us, those entrusted with protecting the peace of this land, to act decisively. Shall we go then? The most common mistake in wild boar management is not a lack of tools, but poor timing and flawed execution. Set a trap along the wrong route, trigger it too early, or let even a single animal escape, and the entire herd will remember what happened. From that moment on, they grow more alert, alter their movement patterns, and become willing to push deeper into human spaces. When this happens, any reaction driven by impulse or emotion risks pushing the situation completely out of control. In this situation, the goal is not to chase the animals away, certainly not to cause panic. The top priority is to stop the herd from continuing to access the work area, prevent them from scattering in multiple directions, and avoid creating additional risks for people. The chosen solution is a large coral-style trap integrated with a remote monitoring camera system. This tool allows decisions to be made based on real data, not guesswork. The camera clearly identifies the size of the herd, their approach routes, and the exact moment when the boars are least alert. In wildlife control, accurate information is just as important as the trap itself. Automatic cameras are positioned along multiple approach routes around the trap, covering the entire movement zone of the boar herd. This setup is not about catching more animals. It is about minimizing risk to people. Every decision is based on real-time visual evidence, with no guesswork and no rushed reactions. Only when the entire herd is fully within the safe control zone is the system activated. When the cameras confirm that the entire herd is inside the trap, the system is activated remotely. The automatic drop mechanism seals all exits in an instant, containing the herd within a closed, fully controllable space. No individual panics and escapes. No movement spills over into areas where people live and work. The risk is stopped exactly at the point of intrusion. This is the fundamental difference between technology-based control and traditional manual methods. Instead of relying on a single trap, the system is deployed across multiple strategic points, known travel routes, areas near food sources, and access points close to farm structures. This approach prevents the herd from scattering in multiple directions, reduces pressure on any single trap, and increases overall control of the entire area. It is a long-term control strategy, well suited to farm environments where people live and work on a daily basis.
They're looking.
A single small mistake in trap placement can turn a controlled situation into a serious threat to the entire farm. Once wild boars cross into restricted areas, what matters most is not reacting the fastest, but reacting with precision. Technology, timing, and disciplined decision-making allow risks to be contained responsibly, before people are forced to pay a heavy price. This is not just about controlling wild boars. It is about protecting safety, order, and the daily rhythm of an entire community, effectively and without unnecessary strain on human effort.
Good. Good. Come on. Come on. We got pigs in. Yep.
In just 60 days, local response teams recorded over 40 sightings of wild hogs near residential areas and even schools. This is no longer just about crops. This is a public safety issue. Wild hogs carry serious disease risks and pose a direct threat to livestock and people if left unchecked. Instead of reacting emotionally, the management team rolled out a non-confrontational control strategy, focusing on large corral traps and nighttime monitoring to minimize risk as much as possible. Let's take a closer look at how this method works. As night falls, large traps are placed at key access points leading into residential zones. These locations were carefully chosen based on the hog's habitual travel routes. Bait is placed in precise amounts. The team doesn't rush the trigger. Activation only happens when the entire sounder is fully inside the trap. This prevents stragglers and reduces the chance of hogs learning how to avoid traps in the future. Then, the gate drops clean and firm. The whole group is secured without force, fully under control. At other hotspots, similarly reinforced traps continue to prove their effectiveness. In a short time, multiple problem areas are resolved, immediately easing pressure on nearby neighborhoods. Effective control isn't about speed, it's about timing and understanding the behavior of an invasive species. Every sounder captured is a major step toward protecting property and the local economy. Over here, Jack's reinforced trap delivers solid results as well, drawing in a large group of wild hogs at once. Without hesitation, he triggers the system, locking down every exit and completing the operation before the hogs can spill into the farmland below. This outcome confirms the strategy was the right call, a result both residents and local authorities have been waiting for. The following morning, the team begins collection following strict safety protocols. The wild boars are transported to a centralized holding site, eliminating any remaining risk to nearby residents. It's hard work, but necessary. Each herd brought under control restores a layer of safety to neighborhoods and schools in the area. Remaining sites, ensuring all natural resources are handled properly, nothing wasted. This isn't just cleanup, it's restoring balance to the land. At the staging site, qualified animals are processed under strict sanitary standards. The meat is legally utilized, preventing waste and delivering real economic value to the local community. This isn't a harvest, it's responsible, lawful, and sustainable wildlife management. When the operation ends, the area returns to quiet. What matters most isn't the number of hogs removed, it's the peace of mind for residents and stopping a threat before it turns into a crisis. That's how communities across the United States are dealing with invasive wild hogs. No unnecessary violence, no delay, and community safety always comes first. If you support responsible pest control and actions that protect local communities like this, hit like and subscribe to join us on the next journey.
I got tricked.
I'm just gonna drop every damn one up in there. Hey.
How many we got?
Oh, yeah.